Star family. Hi, I trust all is well. Welcome back to my channel. Yes, if it is your first time, my name is June. Hi, how are ya? And today I'm going to be doing a little bit, this is going to be a little bit of a story time. This is one of my very first ET experiences that I've had. So we're coming to the space of disclosure, and just like a lot of us are coming forth in this way. And funny enough, yeah, I'm obviously not the only one that's had ET extraterrestrial experiences, right? And a lot of us are having these experiences and are coming out sharing these things, and I thought it would be appropriate to share this now. So this did happen in 2015, which is wild, right? It was like 8 years ago. Oh my gosh. But I remember it like it was yesterday, and it was like absolutely insane. All right. So in 2015, so my awakening happened in 2011. In 2013, I went to the jungle, into the Amazon, into Peru, and I did a plant medicine ceremony, ayahuasca, for the very first time, right? So I made another video about that. So basically in that journey, in that experience, that's when like my third eye blew open and my telepathy and all these things started to come aligned. I met my guides, my higher self, and it was like a nice big old family reunion, right? So it was awesome. When I was in the jungle, the guides were basically telling me, they were like, okay, well, we now need you to be by yourself. Like, you need to spend time alone. It's just like to process, to integrate it, and reconnect. And I was like, okay, like, where am I going? And they're like, we're gonna need you to move back to Hawaii, to go to Hawaii. I grew up in Hawaii. I'm an Air Force brat. I was born in the Philippines. But my dad, we were stationed here in Oahu. Well, I'm on the Big Island now, but we were stationed in Oahu. So basically the guides were like, you need to go back to Hawaii and reconnect. And I was like, okay, but like where in Hawaii? And I ended up going, blessed to be on this small island called Molokai, right? Molokai. It's a very small town, and like literally like 8,000 people on the island, and the perfect place to be by myself. Okay. Experienced a lot of training with the guides in the Galactics in that time, and it was just a very profound moment. But anyway, so I started to have a lot of like extraterrestrial, like ET experiences started happening to me when I was there by myself on this island, which was like so insane. When the Pleiadians had came through, and they were just like telling me about like my Pleiadian lineage, and they were basically telling me that I'm Pleiadian, and like that was a vibe, and like that was crazy. And this was before I even knew what any of those things were. Like I've never heard. I was just newly awakened, you know what I'm saying? So like these are beings and these are energies that were coming through, and it was all very, very much new to me, okay? So this experience in particular was with the Greys. And so this happened in the astral realm. This was actually during dream time, but it was like one of those things where it was just like, yes, it was happening while I was asleep, but it was very much like not a dream. It was like in this fourth dimensional time, space, reality thing. And like, it was just very, very, I mean, it was very real. And like, well, I'll get into that later, like, and how I knew that it was real and I wasn't just like making it up, or it wasn't just like, you know, a dream, so to speak. So I'm newly awakened on the journey, and I'm like super enthusiastic. I'm like super excited. And I'm like, yay, like ET, like I love it. And like the person that I am is like, I'm like super open and like friendly, you know what I'm saying? And at times maybe could even be naive. So for me, you know, I'm just super open to like any kind of communication or contact. So I'm in the dream time, and mind you, and I also want to preface this by saying like, I do have a lot of experience in the dream time. Like lucid dreaming is something that is very like familiar to me. Like I'm very like steeped in dream time. Like I have perfect dream recall. Like it's just a big part of my life since I was a child. I've even had moments to where like I don't really have that much separation between this reality and that reality. But anyway, so I'm in the dream time. I'm in this park. It's at nighttime, and the sky is out, and it's so beautiful, stars, everything. And I see this ship, this star moving in the sky, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like, oh look, it's like it's a ship, it's a star that's moving. So this ship is like moving in the sky, it's like moving around, and I'm like looking at it, and it's like moving towards like closer towards me. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, holy shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is like literally coming my way. It's like coming toward me. So it just got closer and closer and closer. It like parks like right in front of me. Okay. And the way that the ship looked, it was like the classic, like, disc shape and like, yeah, like it just, you know, the classic UFO ship. And I'm like super excited at this point because for me, I'm like, oh my God, like, hey, hi, how are ya? Like, I'm just happy. So the ship lands and like this hatch opens up, this door opens up, and I'm looking and I'm, like I said, I'm super excited at this point. And I kid you not, like these two, well, yeah, I mean, there was a ship literally in front of me, but these two gray beings, these little gray beings come out of the ship. This hatch opens up and these two gray beings start coming down the ship. I'm kind of getting emotional just even like talking about this because like it was just a wild experience. But like they were wearing like these bodysuits and they were short grays. They were maybe like 3.5, 4 feet tall. And yeah, so they just started walking towards me, and I can tell by just feeling, just by the energy of it, like one was masculine and one was feminine. So it was like a female energy and a male energy. So it was like a guy and a girl, like ET. So again, I'm excited. Like I'm literally like waving. I'm like, hey, like, what's up? Oh my gosh, like so happy to meet you. Like, hello. And before I know it, like, so they're walking towards me and they're like about to like make like it contact, I guess. And before I know it, like the male ET, the male gray being literally like jumps on top of me, okay? And this is really weird. And I've literally went through this a bazillion times with myself and the guides. So knocks me down and literally tackles me and like jumps on top of me. And I'm like, and pins me down. So this male and I'm freaking out at this point. Like I'm literally having like I'm literally had like a moment, okay? And I was like freaking out, scared. And while the male gray ET pinned me down, the female energy, she was a little bit more chill, a little bit more, you know, feminine energy, whatever. She comes, they had this long needle, like this long, okay? And like I was like going crazy, and they stuck this needle into my left arm, and I remember it being painful, and they literally just stuck this long ass syringe into my arm and they injected this thing inside of me, okay? So basically, come to find out later on, it was like an implant. Right, and as that was happening, and I'm obviously just like trying to get this gray off, this ET off me, like I'm scared, like I'm freaking out. So I put my hand, and it was like this close to my face, this gray. So I put my hand on his face, and I just remember, like, it was like the texture of it, right? Like I mean, I'm just literally looking at his face like right now as I'm like recalling this experience. But like his skin was like, it was kind of like, it reminded me like a dolphin skin. Like it was like wet texture, like wet and like shiny and like it was just like wet and cold. And like I put my hand on his face. Like I literally felt his face, and his eyes were like huge eyes, and they were like compound eyes, like bug eyes, like kind of like they reminded me of like flies, right? Anyways, which it's interesting because I have seen other experiencers talk about their gray experiences, and when they mention the fact that these grays had like compound eyes, I'm just like, yes, like I know, like that's a real one. Not to say, I mean, there's all kind of grays, you know what I'm saying? But like these grays in particular had like compound, like bug type of eyes, and they were like huge eyes, you know, small nose, little mouth, big gray head, and just like sticky, wet, cold, dark gray skin. Like I was so scared. I was so scared, you know what I'm saying? Just because it was just almost just like, damn, like, did you really have to come at me like that? Like, did it really have to be this way? You know what I'm saying? Like, all they had to do was literally ask. Like, well, I don't know if I would have like complied if they said, hey, we want to like stick this long ass syringe in your arm and give you an implant. Like, I don't know if I would have complied, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So maybe it was necessary to like pin me down in the way that they did. And I do understand that they might, this is like a Harry Potter reference, but they might have an emotional range as a teaspoon, you know? Oh, maybe they weren't really cognizant of like the way that we human beings experience feelings and reality and emotions, but I was terrified, and it was so scary. And like it was just so extra, like how it happened. But anyway, so that's what it was. So, and as soon as they were done with that, jump off me, and that was it. And then they just started walking away, going towards the ship. Now, in my, I don't know, just the person that I am, it was so bizarre. Like as they were walking away, I was literally just like saying goodbye. I was like, bye. You know, on one level, it was like, yeah, I was scared, but then on another level, like on the deepest part of me, like I was okay. You know what I'm saying? And I know like that was just very bizarre, but like I was fine. And like, again, maybe it was a naive or maybe I just knew deep down, like it was all good. And that was it. And I was like, okay, wow, I just had like an ET encounter. So then I wake up the next day and of course I'm going, like it was scary. Like you know, the human, like there was a part of me also that was very shook up from the situation, very overwhelmed, just processing the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, what the hell? Like, what was that? Like, I basically just started to spiral. I was like, okay, I need to figure out and find out like what went on. And obviously very specifically, I knew and remembered like, okay, so they stuck this long, big ass syringe in my arm and they put something in. So there was like this energy healer that I've like learned about and heard about, and he was like pretty cool. And his name was Eric Rains. Okay, and long story short, I connect with this dude, this energy healer, and I call him up and we have a session. We link up and we connect, and I kind of shared with him. Yeah, he was pretty gifted in that way. Like he was able to like visualize like the energy body, and he could just do like basically like a scan. And he did this scan on me, and I kid you not, he literally was like, oh yeah, like I see this thing in your arm. It's like this implant, like this energetic thing in your energy implant in your arm. And I was like, oh my God, like I was like, yeah, I had this encounter with the Greys, and like they stuck this, that was like the spot where they stuck this syringe. He did some energy work on it. He deactivated the implant. You know, we had the session, cleared some other stuff, released other things, and like that was it, and sent me on my merry way. Okay. Wow. And like moving forward, I was just kind of like, okay, like, I don't know. I just didn't know how to respond to it, you know? I mean, on one level, it's like, okay, well, maybe they were just, you know, tracking me. I had like, maybe on some level, I have like this understanding with them. Whatever it was supposed to be like beneficial or supportive, but maybe like the human part of me didn't really understand that. So I just went through all the motions in my mind, but then at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, that's fine, because the way that implants work, if we do have any implants or anything that's artificial or maybe not in resonance with who we are, it doesn't matter anyways, because essentially everything is multidimensional, everything is vibrational. And the guides were just like, it's fine. Just like, as you know, eventually, if that implant is not in resonance with who you are, or cannot withstand your frequency. So either way, it was either going to deactivate on its own anyways, or it was just going to like fall away. It basically has no effect. Okay. So yeah, it might have been an implant. Yeah, it might have been a foreign thing, but eventually it wouldn't affect me anyways, just because like, as long as I'm like in resonance and like, you know, I clear my energy field and I'm present and I know who I am, blah, blah, blah. Nothing outside of that can basically fuck with me or mess with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, excuse my French, but like nothing can affect me on the outside. So I'm like, okay, like that's fine. Like it was crazy, but I was okay with it. This amazing channel. So her name is Lissa Royale Holt, and she channels, so Lissa channels this being, this entity, his name is Germaine, or its name is Germaine. And she basically channeled this deck of cards, like literally like my go-to is the Galactic Heritage cards. Just to show you this, and it's this amazing, it's amazing deck. It's kind of like the tarot and oracle combined, but like on a galactic, multi-dimensional level. And it's like my go-to because it's like, obviously it's like, explains things in a way that I would understand, you know, it's very like cosmic galactic ET. There is this card, and I just want to just share this with you because I just feel like this is just like really important for context. And so there's this card, it's card 99. Okay, so this is the card Mirror Reflection. Okay, so I'm gonna read to you a little part of the book and what this card means. So also in this book, they're saying the Greys, So they're basically saying grays are Zetas, okay? So I know there's probably like a whole bunch of different species of grays, a whole bunch of different species or kinds of Zetas, but I'm just gonna read to you, I guess, just overall idea of whatever this is. One of the reasons for the fearful Zeta encounters or gray encounters that humans had in the past was so we could look into the reflection they represent and see ourselves. The Greys are a major force to help humans confront their species' fears. They show us ourselves, the full journey of human consciousness from fear to love and to ultimate reunification with Source. It's intentional, you know, looking fear into the eye and this idea of transformation and letting that fear transform into love. These beings are kind of just meeting us where we're at to show us who we are, right? To make sense. So at that moment, in that space, I had a lot of fear in me. And maybe that was like my projection and my experience of it being super traumatic and scary and fearful. And that was my own, and that was intentional to show me, to transform that and to show me, to help me come back into my heart. I don't know. I just, you know, that's came to me and kind of more in resonance with me. That kind of makes sense because, I don't know, because like I said, part of me does feel like, you know, on a soul level, I have to have had this understanding and awareness. And there are other parts of my relationship with the guides and these energies and the ETs, like, that maybe I will go into in the future with like hybrid children. And there are particular programs and things that I am deeply connected with and connected to. So I'm pretty sure that my experience with these beings there was an agreement there. And I appreciate that. The only thing, I guess the only gripe that I had was, did it really have to be so damn severe? You know? Did it really have to be so scary? But you know what? I don't know. Maybe it would have been different if, you know, maybe I probably would have had the same response. Like if they just showed up with this big ass needle and was like, here, we need to give you an implant. I do believe it was a tracking device. I don't know if it was like a malicious or a fearful or like a scary thing, but again, I'm pretty sure on one level, and I know this just for myself on a deep level, yeah, it was intentional. Like, and my experience was probably just a reflection of who I am. It doesn't matter, implant, no implant. Like the only thing that matters is you, me, who we are, and just being who we are, and just being in love and being in gratitude, because anything other than that is just all gonna wash away anyway. So it doesn't even matter. So nothing outside of you can harm you. Nothing outside of you can affect you. So anyways, yeah. So like that was crazy. My crazy gray experience. Everything ever since then with the guides and the ETs have been nothing but like love, bliss, and beautiful, harmonious, and just so amazing. You know, I've had nothing but amazing experiences, and that was just literally just that one time where it, you know, but again, like that was very, very early on my journey. So, and I just like to leave you guys with this just I don't know, the guys are just saying just to help, I don't know, I guess integrate this energy. At the end of the day, these are our family, and this is the Greys and these energies, and it's just all love at the end of the day. And we ultimately have nothing to fear. So it's just so much love and gratitude. So thank you guys for showing up and like listening to my story. And I know it was a little chaotic or whatever. Please feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I share a lot of transmissions and things there. That's at JJ Magnificent. Or if you ever have any questions or would like to work with me one-on-one for like readings, activations, cosmic guidance, soul guidance, whatever, let me know. So yeah, thanks again. Infinite love, aloha, blessings, namaste. And see you in the next one.